Be here now.
I've talked at length about the stages that lead up to what I'm going to talk about, but I've talked about the awakening and the tremendous desire to get high, to get rid of the lows, to figure out all the different ways of getting high, meaning getting to acknowledge other planes of reality than the physical plane. It means altered states of consciousness. And a lot of us have learned one way or another of getting high. Through meditation, through chemicals, through sex, through surfing, through cooking, through gardening, through serving. But somewhere along the line, we've realized that getting high isn't the end of it. The end of it is becoming free. Now, the term freedom is an interesting term. I mean, we all think about it socially, politically, as we watch what's happening, say, in Eastern Europe. But in terms of us as individuals, there's the rub, us as individuals. Because in a way, it's getting free of us as individuals. It's extricating ourselves from our somebody-ness. You know how when you're born, everybody says, she's come or he's come. And then they name you. And then they tell you who you are. And they tell you who you are because they know who they are. And who you are fits in with who they are. And they are called socialization agents, often known as parents, and then teachers. And they tell you what's real. And they not only tell you who you are, but they tell you who you aren't. And they tell you who you better be careful not to be. That's all part of your somebody-ness. It's got guilt in it, it's got achievement, it's got fears, it's got loneliness, it's got pride, it's got independence. It's got all those qualities to it. The predicament is that you went from this kind of oceanic awareness before you differentiated that I was separate from it. So as you start to be put into a container of somebody-ness, you realize that a container cannot hold, well, you don't realize this, but what you find later is that any container can't hold who you are. It does violence to it. That you defining yourself as somebody is a very limiting condition. Because who you started out with was all of it. And in a way, the apple in the Garden of Eden is the beginning of your somebody-ness. It's knowledge, it's self-consciousness, it's however you want to define that. And you curry your somebody-ness for years. You educate it, you get degrees, you hang them on the wall. You really become somebody. You have a zip code and an identity and an economics, and you're a part of a class and a society and a nation state, bigger and bigger meta-somebodies. And then you start to awaken. And what happens is the awakening process is breaking out of that somebodyness. The predicament with that somebodyness is it's such a tiny thing compared to the totality of what is. And it's very vulnerable, and therefore it experiences fear. There's no fear until you're somebody. Nobody hasn't got no fear. But somebody has fear. In fact, every somebody has fear. Unless they're a pseudo-somebody. We'll talk about them later. Christ was a pseudo-somebody, for example. So then you start to awaken and you realize you're not who you thought you were. You're not who everybody told you you were. They're not who they think they are. It goes back as far as you can imagine and out as far as you can see that everybody thinks they're somebody that they're not. You're dealing with somebodies all day long. I'm a policeman. I'm your mother. How do you do? I'm somebody. Who are you? What do you do? I'm an American. I'm a woman. I'm a Native American. I'm a minority group. Everybody's somebody. I'm an overeater. I was abused as a child. I mean, anyone you want you can have. They're all somebodies. So the moment of awakening is the recognition that you've been had. I mean, it was well-meaning. It wasn't anybody with ill intent. Nobody meant to have you, to do you in. It's just that you were had. Because everybody you were around thought they were somebody. So, of course, they assumed the best thing they could do for you was make you into a strong and independent somebody. So then, as the storyline unfolds, you start to go into what I've called nobody training. That means to extricate yourself from the trap of your somebodyness. Now, at first, you don't know what to push away. Not only that, but the pusher away is part of your somebodyness. Real problem. You with me? You hear this predicament? So this nobody training means that first, what you do is you explore other qualities of your being other than the one you thought you were. In other words, you exchange another somebody for the initial somebody. You go to the astral plane, for example, and you get into your archetypes. So you're no longer Howard, you're now a being in search of truth. See, it's a new somebody. So you try on meta somebodies. And what you do is you push away who you originally were because it was so frightened and cramped. And you try to reach to be another somebody. So you become a child of God, or a loving being. All of that is getting high. It means it's extricating you from who you thought you were. But it's not free. Because were you free, you wouldn't be standing anywhere. You wouldn't be somebody, but you wouldn't be not somebody either. See what I mean? Like in the Tibetan Buddhist scripture, It says form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. So you begin to appreciate the predicament that you want to be free, and that to be free there's nowhere to stand. And so you have to keep examining the subtle ways you're standing and you're holding and you're remaining somebody, no matter how divine or beautiful or high or light or spacey or compassionate. See, the question is there anybody home? I mean, is there really a Mother Teresa? See? Or is there just the form of Mother Teresa-ness that is the living spirit made manifest? Or is there somebody saying, well, I'm Mother Teresa, and today I will pick up a leper?
Just be here now.